everyone, depending on where you are. I'm going to be presenting a gender-responsive participatory variety selection on being breeding. My name is Eileen. I'm with the Alliance of Nchanji, and I work with other colleagues on the Alliance, colleagues, as well as colleagues from the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Association. So the problematic of this was one, being able to identify gender two that gender gaps. Two, inclusion of socioeconomic variables that will be engaged. Three, to see how possible it is to make sure that gender issues are considered in breeding paradigms. So we've always been using the participatory variety selection tool, and this usually happens at the pre-release stage. Variables that we've been looking at is sex, age, and in some cases we add poverty. So we look at very poor farmers and not so very poor farmers. Most of the data is collected by breeders and socioeconomists and is ranked looking at spread and varietal differences of men and women. In most of the countries, gender experts were often not engaged before, during, or even after data collection. Now, most of the results showed that there are often differences along biotic and abiotic lines. Sometimes this might be like very big differences where men are going for more for market varieties and women more for varieties that have to do with food and nutrition security. But we also have cases where these traits actually merging in the middle. And that is more in countries where there's commercialization of beans. So men and women are all interested in the market. So we attended a meeting with the team. I think it was probably 2019, and we were with the narrow staff, and we were being introduced to a tool called the Gender Plus Customer Product Profile Tool and the Gender Plus Product Profile Tool. So basically, the Gender Plus Customer Product Profile Tool, it helps to provide information on potential customers for the breeding program, which customers should be targeted, the product preferences for these customers, and why. So if we look at the first diagram on the left, it actually shows those key stages in breeding where you can address gender responsiveness, where you make those decisions, and what sort of results you expect. And on our far right, we look at how to be able to develop the customer plus, the gender plus customer profiling, and it starts from segmentation to targeting profiling. So there's basically a reference at the end of this presentation that you can go through to get more information about. So now when we come to the gender plus product profile tools, this is really where it's a lot more interesting for us. So a discussion happened between me and the breeders in Kenya, and we said, wow, this tool is really good. It pulls out information on do no harm positive benefits. So do no harm basically is if there's a threat that would come, for example, women, then maybe it's possible or maybe it's better if we reject that threat or avoid it or amend it. But also then if it's a threat, for example, that reduces drudgery and increases income generation for men and women, then possibly that's a threat that we should actually promote, make sure that we have that as one of the varieties that will be released, because in this case it's going to contribute to increased livelihoods for men and women farmers. But also we realized when we were having a discussion on this gender product profiles that when you develop the gender impact score, you can have cases where the trade-offs, and where the trade-offs might actually mean that you maintain the threat, but then you probably have to look for another innovation or technology that can, let's say, for example, reduce drudgery like pressure, but then still, women would be employed. The threat is going to get employment for women that for women who take up that variety. So having a discussion with readers, the question we had was we already have a standard participatory varietal tool and we know what sort of results we get from there. So is it possible to integrate the do no harm and positive benefit question into the standard participatory varietal tool? One, two, and we add socioeconomic variables that go beyond sex, age, to look at issues to do with land size, marital status, education, of course, poverty. We came up with what we call the gender responsive PBS tool. This tool has been piloted in Kenya, Cameroon, Zambia, and is going to be piloted in DRC, Benin, and other countries. We have another form of this tool that has been piloted as well in Zimbabwe, but done in a completely different way. But today, our focus is on the gender responsive PBS tool piloted in Kenya. So, what was interesting, which is different information coming up when we standard, we realized when we added other variables to do with achieve, when we added other variables to do with education, land holding, was that men and women with higher education were more likely to go for pets that increased employment for them, and this was seen with women-headed households. But then also men said, when there's a large land holding, it's likely to displace women, and it also requires additional input. Women also had the same thought, but for them, they were more interested in employment and not whether it's going to displace them from the activities they were doing before or whether it had additional input. So there are actually some trade-offs that we actually realized. And also, what was important as well was that women had higher preferences for land races compared to improved varieties. But this was due to availability and accessibility. So that's something that's very important for women. The preferences for the bean varieties were significantly different between men and women across the two counties. It was Embu County and Nakuru County. So geography is also very important. And also, what was interesting was that these differences in trait and varietal preferences follow gender roles and labor division. Some of the challenges and opportunities external time because the participating varietal when you add the gender gap question and also when you add variables, issues of capacity building, people retire but others move to other functions, so you have to build the capacity, which we are grateful for great. Actually, we had some colleagues doing to great. And also what was really most important for us is that we now have gender experts involved in gender responsive participatory varietal technology rolling out in countries. And this is because we had the buy-in from the breeders. Moving forward, other opportunities we see is engaging other colleagues from the demand of breeding, working with the same effort, extending this to the university curriculum that they already have in different schools and scaling this out to other countries as well. Thank you very much. Here we have the